I'm living with an elderly lady. Isn't it obvious I should help out? This is just a penalty game, a bit of fun. There's no need to make a big deal out of it, right? So that's your attitude. I see. If you both feel that way, I have my own plans too. My name is Naomi. I'm currently living alone in the city, far from my childhood home. It takes about an hour by car to get there, which makes frequent visits difficult. I manage to go back maybe once a year. Last New Year, for example, I was too busy with work to make the trip. But this year, I was able to make the journey home. I was looking forward to seeing my brother and his wife, who got married 2 years ago, and now live with mother in our family home. I bought the souvenirs they requested and drove back home, excited for what I was sure would be a fun holiday season. But then, what was going on here? When I got home, something felt off. Even from outside, the atmosphere seemed stagnant. It was as dark as a house that had been abandoned for years. When I walked in, the air felt even heavier. I noticed that Mother lacked her usual energy. She had always been such a cheerful and lively person. Looking at the three of them, it seemed that Mother was doing all the cleaning and cooking. "Mother, are you okay? Can I help?" I asked. "It's all right, Naomi. You've come home after so long. You must be tired from the long drive," she replied, not letting me assist her. Yet she was doing strenuous housework like lifting heavy items. Despite this, my brother and Lily, my sister-in-law, just ignored her, even when Mom was working right in front of them. They continued playing their games. They even asked her to bring them tea while she was working. It was total madness. "Hey, Mom, are you really okay? Should I talk to my brother for you? Maybe there are things you're having trouble saying." "It's fine, really. You don't have to worry about anything. Just relax. You're home, after all. Your bed is ready in the guest room. You could even take a nap if you want," she insisted. No matter how much I asked, Mom wouldn't tell me anything. I thought there was nothing I could do until mealtime came as a surprise. The living room was filled with Mom's special dishes, including many of my favorites. Each dish had a nostalgic taste, lifting my spirits instantly. "Wow, thank you. I've missed Mom's home cooking so much." "Wait, what?" Mom was nowhere to be found in the living room. Incredibly, she wasn't coming in from the kitchen. "Mom, what's wrong? Aren't you coming in? If there's still something to prepare, I can help you." Puzzled, I went to check in the kitchen, and there was Mom, eating standing up. No chair, just eating alone in the cold kitchen. "Mom, why aren't you joining us? Why are you eating here?" "This is how it always is, so it's fine. But I made plenty, so make sure to eat. I'd like to think my cooking hasn't gone downhill," she said, looking sad. Meanwhile, in the living room, my brother and his wife were eating without a care for Mom, watching TV and chatting away. I couldn't help but feel bewildered. "Hey, what's going on, bro? Sister-in-law, why is Mom eating in the kitchen? Doesn't that strike you as strange?" "Well, Mom has her issues too. You wouldn't understand because you don't live with us," my brother replied nonchalantly. "Exactly," my sister-in-law added. "As you age, your knees start to hurt, and sitting can become painful. You probably wouldn't know unless you live with her. Sometimes it's easier for her to stand. Sitting can make it worse." They responded as if this were the most natural thing in the world. I found their attitude odd, but I couldn't find the words to object. Indeed, it's been 2 years since I last saw Mom. We haven't been in touch often, so there could be circumstances I'm not aware of. So, I backed off at that moment. But as I observed more closely over time, I realized something was off with Mom. To be precise, something was off between my brother, his wife, and Mom. They didn't try to engage Mom in conversation. They acted as if she wasn't there at all. It was as though only I could see her. Then again, my brother and his wife have only been married for 2 years. They've been living with Mom since their newlywed days, so they probably haven't had much alone time. Maybe they're still in that lovey-dovey honeymoon phase and want to stay absorbed in their own little world. That could be one way to look at it. And it's not like I, who isn't usually around, can dictate how often they should be conversing with Mom. With those unsettling thoughts swirling in my mind, I retired to bed that night. However, the real shock came later. In the middle of the night, I woke up needing to use the restroom, only to find Mom asleep in the chilly hallway by the front door. Despite being covered with several blankets, she was shivering noticeably in the cold. "Mom, what are you doing out here? Why are you sleeping in the hallway?" I exclaimed. "It's nothing new. Don't worry about me," she replied softly. "No way. I can't just leave you like this. Even though we don't live together normally, I can't ignore it. Despite the late hour, I insisted on taking Mom to the guest room where I was staying. Together, we sought warmth and comfort for the rest of the night. The next morning, I confronted my brother and his wife about what had happened without hesitation. You don't talk to Mom. She does all the housework. She's eating standing up in the kitchen. And why was she sleeping in the hallway? But instead of showing remorse, my brother just grinned. It was my sister-in-law who uttered something shocking. Well, it's because Mom is always causing trouble. It's her punishment, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Punishment. What do you mean? When you accumulate too many nuisance points, there are consequences. At 5 points, meals are eaten in the kitchen. At 10 points, you handle all the chores yourself. At 20 points, you sleep in the hallway. Right now, our dear mother-in-law has racked up a whopping 200 points, so she only has to endure it a few more days. What does that even mean? Isn't that terrible? And what do you mean by nuisance? I fired my questions hastily. My sister-in-law responded in a casual tone, what counts as a nuisance? Well, like when the food doesn't taste to our liking. For us, working dual-income earners, that's the worst. It's really disappointing to come home after a long day, looking forward to a good meal, only to find it's not tasty. What? Just cook your own food then. Naomi, you don't understand. We're the ones working outside, right? Do you know how much of a hassle it is to cook? That's true, Naomi. My mother-in-law doesn't work, so the least she can do is cook. It's really inconvenient to have an unproductive person at home. Exactly. We're out there working, and she's just at home all day. Quite the life, isn't it? Brother, aren't you being a bit harsh? Mother raised us by herself after Dad passed away. She worked and managed all the housework. She took care of us. Isn't that just a parent's duty? Yeah, that's it. My brother and his wife burst into laughter. Seeing their reaction, I realized there was no use in arguing further. So, I calmly stated, I see how you perceive it. Understood. Then I will fulfill my duty as a daughter. With determination, I started packing Mother's belongings. Her possessions were noticeably fewer than when I last saw them 2 years ago, which saddened me deeply. Despite my emotions, I held back tears, completed the packing, and assisted Mother, who kept apologizing, into my car. My brother and his wife observed with smirks on their faces. Finally, they're taking the burden away from us. Score. This house is ours now, Kevin. Let's enjoy it from now on, my brother remarked gleefully. I ignored their celebration and drove off with Mother, heading home. A few days later, after the New Year's festivities had ended, it was back to work. Then, a frantic call from my brother came through. Hey, nothing's arrived. What's going on? Really? After what you did to Mom, did you expect things to go on as usual, little brother? Do you understand your actions? What are you talking about? I didn't do anything wrong to you. True, you did nothing to me. But what about Mom? Think about it. With that, I hung up on him. It wasn't long before my sister-in-law called. What the? I just read your email. Why are you saying you're cutting ties with us? Explain yourself. Explanation. Cutting ties means ending our business relationship. How many years have you been working that you don't understand that? Are you still functioning in society? Wait, that's not what I meant. Don't insult me. Why does our company have to be cut off? Are you seriously asking that? Considering recent events, are you sure you're fit for this professionally? Do you even remember what happened a few days ago? With that, I ended the call. Truth be told, I work at a major company. My brother freelances for us, handling occasional writing tasks. While it felt strange to cut ties with family, there are plenty of other writers available. As for my sister-in-law, her father's company subcontracts with ours, and my department oversees their contract. Ending our business relationship with them was a straightforward decision. After handling the calls, I took a deep breath to steady myself. Then I sent both of them the same message. You both mistreated Mom. As her daughter, I will fight to protect her. Anyone who harms Mom is my adversary, and I won't hold back. Despite the circumstances of how you met, my sister-in-law visiting our company and my brother seeking more work from me, did you really think it was acceptable to treat Mom so poorly? I hate to say it, but I've been supporting both of you since you met. That ends today. They both seemed to read the message promptly and replied hastily. I haven't forgotten. I treated you better than any brother would treat his sister. I even prepared the guest room nicely for the New Year's celebration. I couldn't leave that to Mom. I also had Mom-in-law make your favorite dishes. Naomi, are you going to forget that kindness? After reading their messages, I replied, you couldn't leave it to Mom. You had to take charge. How dare you disrespect the woman who raised me with such love? Both of you disgust me. Brace yourselves. Ultimately, I stopped assigning work to my brother. There were plenty of others who were more reliable and efficient than him. Without our family ties influencing my decisions, there was no reason to prioritize him. One day, a colleague who was unaware of my relationship with Kevin asked, Hey Naomi, Kevin Ryder hasn't been active lately, right? Is he not taking on our work anymore? Yeah, he told me he's not interested in our projects anymore and asked me to stop sending them his way. So I guess we can just let him be. Well, that's odd. He doesn't seem to have any notable skills, yet he's straightforward. I wonder how he'll manage without our projects. I see what you mean. He was a bit of an odd character, wasn't he? Exactly. He misses deadlines, acts entitled, and he's overly aggressive in price negotiations. If we don't have to work with him anymore, it's a relief. That's how my brother appears from an outsider's perspective. When I stopped assigning him work, he mentioned that 90% of his income came from our company, so he must be in a tough spot now. With his attitude and skill level, finding new work won't be easy for him. Well, let him struggle. It's of no concern to me. It seems his wife, my sister-in-law, received a serious reprimand from her father after he learned about her treatment of Mom. Her father contacted me in a panic. I will disown my daughter, so please, I beg of you, let's keep our relationship intact. If there are any other conditions, I will accept them. He's the president of a company we subcontract with. I couldn't ignore his plea after hearing that. So, I laid down a condition. In that case, I want your daughter and my brother to vacate our house immediately, and she must sincerely apologize to Mother. Additionally, she needs to provide suitable compensation in the divorce settlement. The president promptly conveyed this to my sister-in-law, but she seemed resistant. Why should I apologize? Living with that old woman is stressful enough. Dad, you need to assert yourself more. You're being pathetic. Given this attitude, I decided not to renew the contract. While I felt sympathy for the president, it felt like karma. Since my brother and his daughter-in-law got married, he had been providing unrealistic estimates. He was tough in negotiations but struggled with deadlines and communication. If he hadn't been family, I would have ended the business relationship much earlier. Moreover, he raised such a daughter-in-law. There was no reason for me to go out of my way to assist him. As a result, my brother and his wife found themselves in a tight spot. According to local acquaintances, they appeared to have moved out of their home at some point. The house originally belonged to our parents, my brother, and me, and it was spacious enough for 4 people or just the 2 of them. Utility bills must have been a burden. According to reports from friends, they were seen in an apartment without basic amenities like a bathroom or toilet. It seemed they were facing significant challenges without steady employment, but that was no longer my concern. Even if they were to suddenly apologize, I had no intention of forgiving them whatsoever. On the other hand, in stark contrast to them, Mom has been steadily regaining her energy. She sleeps in a comfortable bed at my place and enjoys her meals in a cozy environment. She no longer strains herself with household chores and can relax on her days off. After months of this new routine, she's returned to her vibrant self. I was mistaken before. I convinced myself that your brother and his wife were right. I thought I had to comply because I wasn't good enough. Naomi, thank you for rescuing me. No, I should apologize for not realizing it sooner. I'm sorry for letting you suffer, Mom. From now on, please inform me immediately if anything happens. We'll make up for the past by living happily. Lately, Mom has started making friends in the neighborhood. She finds the unfamiliar city exhilarating and loves exploring it. Seeing Mom happy like this brings me immense joy. Moving forward, I'm committed to showing my gratitude to the woman who raised me. That's the